Well, first and most important, thank you for having me here tonight. Before I start, I want to just, we had a solemn thing happen today in Georgia. I talked to Governor Brian Kemp after he landed, so he wished he could be here, but he told me he wished he could be here. He's back in Georgia, and I know he'll work his tail off to make sure he does the right thing and keeps his community safe. Unfortunately, in Florida, my last year as governor, we had a massive shooting, a horrible shooting at the Parkland School. We lost 17 families, and I actually talked to one of the families today. Those things are devastating. So hopefully, as a country, we can figure out how to stop this. But my heart goes out to them, and I think everybody here wishes, whenever you see something like that, you think about your own kids or your grandkids, and you don't ever want it to happen again. So thank you for having me here tonight. I'm here with my wife, Ann. I'm not sure I can see her right now. So we've had the opportunity to visit Israel quite a few times, and Barbara Feingold told me that the first time we went there with her and Jeffrey, that we were always going to love it, and we do. It changes your life. So I could tell you a lot of stories. It's been 334 days since Israel's been at war. It's been 334 days since Idan Alexander, Zigay Dekohan, Omar Nutra, and Keith Siegel have seen their families, have seen freedom, have been held captive by the vilest people on planet Earth. You can't imagine. It's been 334 days that they have had to face death in the eye. And the names I read are only the Americans who we believe are still alive and held hostage. There are over 100 more people, both dead and alive, from many different countries, from all over the world, who are being held captive by Hamas. It's disgusting. Just take that in for a second. Can you imagine even 1 hour of enduring what they're going through? They spent 8,000 hours. 8,000 hours in that tortured hell. We just heard the news of the 6 hostages who were killed, including, the Israeli-American Hirsch Goldberg Poland. Probably just before the IDF had the opportunity to rescue them. It's terrible. Their bodies were just found discarded in a tunnel under Rafah. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris threatened Netanyahu and withheld weapons to stop him from going into Rafah. Maybe if they hadn't impeded Israel's advance, these innocent lives would be alive today. Whenever anything like this happens, you always internalize it. Almost all this horror and heartbreak, we must also thank God for the hostages Israel has been able to rescue. We want to thank, I don't know if there's members of the IDF here tonight, but I want to thank every member of the IDF here or there for what they do. Last week, the IDF rescued Kiad Farn al-Qadi from an underground tunnel. But think about it, there's a lot of other souls that are dependent on the IDF or us, freedom-loving world, to save their lives. I want to be very clear. We need to rescue every hostage who is still alive, and every military group in the world should be out there doing it to figure out how to do it today. The U.S. military has the ability to do these things. I have no idea why Biden has never used the U.S. military to do any of this. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's equally important to bring those home who have been murdered by Hamas. We know there's bodies there, and they've not been brought home. Why is Hamas doing this? Every family deserves that. When I addressed you last year, I said, not since the Holocaust has the world witnessed such a brutal attack on the Jewish people. Not since the Holocaust has the world witnessed such a brutal attack on the Jewish people. But almost a year later, we continue to see so much hate in Israel, for Israel, so much disrespect to the hostages. I mean, we can't even get our president and vice president to even talk about it. And unfortunately, we see so much anti-Jewish violence where U.S. citizens are actively supporting Hamas. I saw a young student a little while ago that was going to GW, and one of our daughters went there, and the president of GW would not even meet with the Jewish leaders, and as far as I know, still hasn't. That's disgusting. But these people are showing exactly what the human think about it. Who said this quote? They are showing exactly what the human emotion should be as a response to Gaza. Harris. It's Harris. And after a student accused Israel of ethnic genocide, Harris responded, "Your truth should not be suppressed, and it must be heard, right? Your truth." It's simply false. And let me give you another quote. "We should not have to tolerate anti-Semitism or bigotry for all Jewish students, whether they are pro-genocide or anti-genocide." Who do you think said that? Ilhan Omar. These people, she's a fool. Here's what AOC said. "If you want to know what an unfolding genocide looks like, open your eyes." Now, these people are racist. They believe that a country goes out to defend itself from terrorism, it's genocide. None of these people should be taken seriously. What's scary, these are not blue-haired college kids protesting on campuses. They aren't they're not anti-Israel professors. They're members of Congress. And one is the Democrat nominee for president. Now, we say every election is important and every election matters, right? They always do. But this election is far different than any election in our lifetime. This election is about whether we as a nation will tolerate anti-Semitism. This election is about whether we as a nation stand with Israel or capitulate to terrorists. This election is about whether we as a nation will allow our Jewish students to be attacked for simply wearing a Star of David on their college campus. This election is about that we as a nation will allow supporters of Hamas to burn the American flag and desecrate public property just steps from the Capitol, U.S. Capitol, do nothing about it, and have politicians not say a word. The most radical ticket in my lifetime of Harrison Walls have a history of embracing well-known anti-Semites. They've awarded tax dollars to groups associated with terrorist sympathizers and completely abandoned Israel when they need American support the most. I mean, this is the time to stand up, and they haven't. Harris, as you heard earlier, Harris couldn't even be bothered to go to Congress when Netanyahu addressed us at the Capitol. Now think about it. Trump says, oh, Harris hates Israel, and everybody gets upset. Guess what? The truth is upsetting. She's upsetting. She thinks because her husband is Jewish, it somehow gives her cover as she appeals to the radical anti-Semites in her party. The same people who told her not to pick a Jewish governor to be her running mate. But today's Democrats believe they can get away with anything and still win elections. They can be silent while Jewish Americans are targeted on the streets in our cities. They believe they use the government to silence anyone that disagrees with them or questions their authority. Just think about it. What if I told you 10 years ago that very soon the Democrat Party in the USA was going to be undecided whether or not they are for or against anti-Semitism? 10 years ago, you would have said I was crazy. Here we are. And right now, we're seeing what happens when the president puts the full force of the U.S. government behind putting his leading political opponent in jail, just like what they're doing in Venezuela right now. Now, even though Biden's not the nominee anymore, it's still happening. Just look at what Jack Smith did with a new indictment, and we have Trump sentencing, I guess, in the next few weeks in New York. And I went to the trial. I watched what was happening. The judge is completely anti-Trump. Under a Harris-Walz presidency, this is all going to continue. Nothing's going to change. They're going to try to continue to lock up their opponents, just like Xi and Maduro, while giving cash bail to violent criminals and terrorist sympathizers. Why should we expect anything different from the woman who supported bail fund for freed violent criminals? You can't believe this stuff. And this doesn't stop with the presidential election. There's other people here. I'm up for election. I'm running against a socialist, a complete radical socialist, who spent her brief time in Congress. What did she want to do? She wanted to be part of the squad, so she voted almost 100% of the time with AOC, Tlaib, and Omar. She refuses to this day, in Florida, to condemn the hateful anti-Israel protests on college campuses, protests that we all know are funded by Iran. I'm not just running for re-election, but I'm also running to be the leader of the Senate. Things have to change. As a Senate leader, you're going to count on me to support Israel and protection for our Jewish communities all across the country being my top priority. Here's this thing I will do and we should have done. Force a vote to stop any funds to Hamas. Now, you might not realize this, but Biden's own State Department admitted a few years ago that U.S. taxpayer dollars for humanitarian aid in Gaza could potentially go to Iran-backed Hamas terrorists. So I filed a bill way back before October 7th to stop this. But guess what? Chuck Schumer's not going to let me have it heard. Democrats don't care. They've refused to let the bill come to the floor. So if I'm the leader, you better believe day one we're going to vote on it. Let's see how people vote. Next, as you heard from Jason Smith, defund every college and university, any educational institution that receives a dime of taxpayer money that allows anti-Semitic events on campus. It's wrong. Why do we, it's our money and they're doing this. There's a bill, I've got a bill to Stop Anti-Semitism on College Campuses Act. So we're gonna have a vote on it. Let's see how the Democrats vote. But there shouldn't be a dime go to one of these institutions. It should never happen. If they don't want to stand up and protect our Jewish students, they should get none of your tax dollars. The next, we need to stop funding the UN. They give a global stage to the world's worst human rights violators and abusers. They give a global stage to terrorist sponsors, and they've become a puppet for Communist China. I mean, they gave a nice stage for Communist China so they could cover up the COVID origins. So we have got to change what we're doing. So I've supported these things, and I'm going to fight like hell. So look, America did the right thing under Trump. We stopped funding for UNRWA. But Democrats don't believe in it. We got to pass legislation. We got to hold Iran accountable. They're doing this. So you've heard it all night. The Biden-Harris appeasement, that's caused all this. The Houthis wouldn't have the money. Hezbollah wouldn't have the money. Hamas wouldn't have the money. It wasn't long ago we had the most pro-Israel president in the White House, Donald Trump. What did he do? Defeated ISIS. I'll tell you a cute story. We were there the day Trump announced that he was moving the embassy. So I met with Prime Minister Netanyahu, and I said, well, I organized it today that Trump would do this. He laughed. So, but we were lucky, and we were there. The Phallics who are here hosted us that night, and it was a great day. Everybody told us there was going to be a lot of crime the next day, and it was going to be dangerous and all that. It was just a beautiful day to be in Jerusalem the next day. But he moved the embassy to Jerusalem. He held vicious Iranian murderers accountable, like Soleimani, for all the Americans he killed. Our southern border was secured. He denied terrorist groups the ability to infiltrate American communities. You know, if you listen to what Ray has said, we've got terrorist groups all across our country now as a result of our southern border. That wasn't happening under Trump. But guess who said that she was going to take care of the border now? Border czar Harris. What a joke. He made historic moves with the Abraham Accords. I had the opportunity to visit some of those countries last year. We were holding Iran accountable. But look at Biden and Harris. They've been greenlighting dollars after dollars, billions of dollars to Iran. Where did they get the money? I mean, they're the biggest state sponsor of terrorism. They get the money from us. They're the biggest they do more to hurt the Jewish community than anywhere in the world, more than any time since the Holocaust. They provide munitions and weapons to Israel's enemies to start multi-front wars. They're getting it from the United States, from European dollars, Chinese dollars, because we have a president and vice president that don't give a damn about Israel and don't give a damn about the Jewish community. You just look at what's happened. This is a result of billions of dollars going into Iran to fund all this stuff. Everybody that's coming up here tonight, we're all going to do the same thing. We're going to tell you, and we're going to do it. We're going to fight like hell. But you need to support Republicans. We're appreciative of you supporting Republicans. We're all going to fight like hell for Israel and fight like hell for the Jewish community. It's because of all you hear that we have the opportunity to win the House, the White House, and the Senate. And we have to win all three. We have to win all three if we want to make sure we get our country back and we stand up for Israel. Now, I just want to thank some people. Matt Brooks and Norm Coleman, they do incredible work, and I want to thank them for all the things they've done for me. I want to thank everybody here. I want to thank you guys for being so vocal and not backing down. I want to thank the RJC for supporting people. These races, like I tell everybody, my race, our races, this is a team sport. And what you guys do by supporting people all across the country makes a big difference. The other thing I want to do is I want to thank Matt Bogdanoff. Matt does a great job in Florida. We have a great Jewish community in Florida, and he just does a great job. Now let me just close with this. It's important that we keep showing up. You know, when I've told people, I think the difference between what's happened with Ukraine and Israel is, what happened with Ukraine is they stopped talking about what was going on. They stopped talking about the atrocities. They stopped talking about how many people were dying. We can't do that. We got to keep talking about what's going on, and we got to keep visiting them. We got to keep going over there. We got to keep going to Israel. We got to keep thanking the IDF. We got to support the leaders of Israel. I had the opportunity to go over there. I visited Kfar Aza, which Ann and I had visited in 2019. I went to the music festival. I met with some of the parents there. I met with some of the hostage families. I think we got to keep doing this stuff. Ann and I took our daughters to Birkenau and Auschwitz years ago just to make sure they knew what was going on, because this can happen again. So I just want to thank everybody for the opportunity to be here. If there's anything I can do to be helpful, if you give me your idea, I will work on it. This is personally important to me. I just can't imagine what the people of Israel are going through and what Jews are going through. I don't understand why this is happening. I will always fight for Israel. I'm always going to fight for our Jewish community, and just let me know what I can do to be helpful. And it's wonderful to be here. Have a good night. Bye-bye.